It's funny that I was talking to a club. Okay, you said we're not mentioning names.
Yeah,
and then
but you can mention if you want. And
then I asked them about their women side, and they said if it were not for the club licensing requirements, they would not have set it up. And they were so particular about them not even wanting them to perform well.
Oh,
for them it's just a nice to have.
Yeah.
Why would they not want them to perform well?
Because they're disrespectful like that. The people just don't respect.
I thought that's like a bonus if the women perform well.
For some people, it's not.
How so?
It's crazy.
How so? I want to try to understand them to an extent.
People try to make me understand. Please,
yeah. Eyes for
the
me.
expenditure will go.
And Terry, my God, I was just like,
try,
okay, sorry guys.
I want to
and you're in the middle, so if you decide.
No, again, I think it's just go back to finances, because if you are a Gor Mahia FC or AFC Leopards or even Shabana, you still want your women's team to do well, of course, and they don't have money.
Yes.
They don't have money. I think a lot of these clubs in Izo to come Gor during the derby, they got like 7 million bob. So you have to ask yourself, of course they have a sponsor, them they're in a better state. But look at a team like Muranga Seal, for example.
Yes.
They also have a sponsor. Who doesn't have a sponsor? Guys,
they
are very few.
Yeah.
But then it just means like we've already discussed at length the way the cake is too small already, coming from up. And also just within the club.
Yes.
And then now you're told e-cake, like, slice it. And, Terry has just admitted that given the chance, they won't have the women's team.
Yes.
So they just have it because it's recommended. Regulation. It's a regulation.
Yeah.
It's not like it's good to have. It's a regulation, that they have to follow.
Yeah.
So they can only give them so much as well. Ni ile tu imebaki kidogo ndio, which doesn't help the women if you ask me.
It's because they decide to not put energy kwa your team, because if you look at Gor Mahia, for example, because you mentioned Gor Mahia, it's a brand.
Yeah.
If you start looking for money for the women, just give someone that job. Look for someone to get money for the club instead of ni ile tu watu wanataka kushikilia, because this women's team is ours, we have to run it by ourselves, this youth team is ours. Even Gor Mahia youth, for example, it's struggling. And Gor Mahia is a brand, and that team has been there for a long time, and it is acting as a feeder to the big Gor Mahia team.
Yes.
So even the women's side, for example, I'll talk about Sally. Sally runs Salient, which does all these things for so many countries. So if Sally wanted to look for someone to look for money for Gor Mahia Queens, for example, hashindwi, because those girls are being paid. Yes, Gor Mahia Queens are being paid, and if they want to pay even higher salaries, they can still do it, because imagine with everything Sally has to do, she still makes sure that these girls are here and they're being paid. If they want, they can actually brand Queens because it's a different brand.